Kids Don't Come With a Manual is a new show that delves into the science of parenting, providing whānau with an easy-to-understand guide to helping solve problems for whānau. Mātakitaki mai.
This is a call to action.
It was really hard to try and keep it together every day.
I need some help.
Simple tools.
Is he here with his body or is he up here with his inaugural?
For parents in need.
E tino he hena hau ki te whakapakari, I ahau anō.
Tāhua. Mai te tirohanga Māori. Kids Don't Come With a Manual with Nathan Wallis. Ki whakaata Māori me Māori Plus.
The Kids Don't Come With a Manual show features neuroscience educator and parenting expert Nathan Wallis no Ngāpuhi, Ngāti Kahungunu, and he's with us now. Tēnā koe, Nathan. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, where did the whakaaro for the show come from?
Really, neuroscience has exploded onto the scene since the 1990s. They got the equivalent of 300 years worth of information. You know what had taken us the previous 300 years together? Got in 10 years because of MRI scans and PET scans. So all this research is confirming what our tūpuna told us hundreds of years ago around how we parent and how we nurture children. So yeah, it's been a while in the making to get the information out there to whānau, because ultimately it's going to empower whānau. Well,
it's a great opportunity to do this because you are an expert, foremost expert in this field, according to a lot of people, including myself. What are some of the topics you'll be covering then?
Really, we got whānau to identify themselves and to reach out to us for help. And all the issues that you'd expect to come up in 2023, really. ADHD come up a whole lot, and learning difficulties, neurodiversity. Yeah, the whānau, I think one of the themes that come through was whānau having their own solution. You know, whānau do know the solution to their own problems. They often just need that awhia, that guidance to find out which of their solutions is the right one.
What are some of the challenges that you've come across already unique to tamariki?
Challenges unique to tamariki Māori or just to tamariki in
Tamariki
general?
Māori.
Tamariki Māori. I think that we live in a world where you're either seen as normal or you've got a disorder. So I think when you're not part of the mainstream, you're not part of the mainstream education system, it's easier, and certainly at a way higher percentage Māori children are identified as having disorders and learning difficulties, and I think that's difficult for any marginalised group because it's a way of perceiving us that makes us lesser rather than more, or just different.
Well, why? Why do you think that is?
I think it's just a European Western construct, because they have this idea of normal, the average person in the middle, and then you're a deviation from the norm. I think other cultures, Māori included, have had a wider focus of lens in that. I mean, I think every child's exactly who they're supposed to be. It's our mission to work out how they're supposed to be that way, rather than to label it a disorder and to tell them there's something wrong with them.
And who's your primary audience? Are you targeting tamariki, you're targeting parents, or a combination of both?
Really targeting parents, so they can help to give them some support around how to, to parent in this modern world. That's quite different from the world that any of the rest of us have been parenting in for even hundreds of years. It's rapidly changing, so we want to support parents to do that. But it's really anyone that's interested in the human brain and why we are who we are.
See, this show will provide us an opportunity to listen to you, to hear your thoughts on this. This is something that's obviously incredibly important to you. What are we able to really get from the show that we might not have learnt previously?
I think to know thyself and to understand that what a strong base it is to come from, to be Māori, how our tūpuna and ancestors have left us with an incredible knowledge base. You know, the stuff that we gather from the missionaries that they were writing, 150 years ago, now completely correlates with modern scientific, neuroscientific research. So that's a huge ups to our ancestors to understand that we do have the answers.
And you're constantly learning yourself, as we all are, right? Have you picked up much through this process with the show?
Yeah, a lot, because I teach lots in the theory and I talk to lots of audiences and have a social media following, but it's different to actually get the raw problem and then bring all that information to the raw problem for whānau at the coalface. So I think that's highlighted just how much of a need there is and how much of it is just information sharing. It often wasn't super complex what we were doing. It was about just giving the whānau the right information at the right time. And
what are your expectations for a show like this? This should be something that everyone should be viewing.
My expectation would be to whakamana te ao Māori, for people to be, like I've said, to be proud about the background that we've come from, because the answers are all there, and to give people more research and based information when they're trying to parent. We've seen a huge change in parenting. I mean, my parents were still trying to control me.
Sure.
And I think in many ways I switched, like I did time out as a parent rather than smacking. Thought I was so progressive. Now I see time out as just now I just see time out as a non-violent form of violence. I still tell them to shut up and do as they're told. I see the way my children, parent my grandchildren. I think we're getting a whole generation of kids that are far more emotionally intelligent and more reaching their full potential because we've taken away the story of abuse that we had with our children about how we're supposed to train them.
Yeah. Well, my daughter brings that up all the time. She said you were pretty good because you didn't think you were smacking, so you had succeeded. And I said, well, I kind of did in the early days.
Yeah. Would you put your mukapuna into time out?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Look, appreciate you joining us. We could speak every day on this topic.
Absolutely.
And certainly appreciate you coming in today. Parenting expert and neuroscience educator, Nathan Wallis from The Kids Don't Come With a Manual. Thank you so much for joining us today, Ngā mihi.
Kia ora, Neil.